partnership with the UAE Ministry of Culture and Youth, the UAE Ministry of Economy, the UK's Department for International Trade, and the British Council. Today's event is the second in a series of events designed to help creatives and SMEs work in and with the UAE. For those of you who did not tune into our first session earlier in September, we kicked off discussions with a session focused on the regulations and policies at a federal level. However, today we will explore the Abu Dhabi ecosystem. Before I proceed, I just want to mention a little bit about the UAE UK Business Council. We are a thought leadership organization that exists to bring people like all of you together to identify market access issues, regulatory barriers to doing business, as well as emerging trends and opportunities. As a completely bilateral organization, we represent the interests and concerns of our UAE members and stakeholders, as well as our UK members and stakeholders. And although we are an entirely membership-based, driven and funded body, we do work closely with both governments to deliver various strains of thought leadership that adds value to the trade and investment relationship. We do this through our campaigns, events, and our working groups, which is where our involvement today stems from. We have a very active creativity, arts, and culture sub-working group chaired by Her Excellency Salma Al-Darmaki. And this strain of avenue of activity, it forms part of our wider education working group. The UAE is the Middle East and North Africa hub for creative industries, and the general diversification of the economy has included continued substantial investment into leisure and entertainment, which has helped position the nation as a leading tourism destination and consequently a leading market for architecture, design, interior design in the GCC area. The UAE is also offering attractive incentives to UK creative industry companies planning to invest in and do business with the market. So I'm sure we're all looking forward to hearing from the speakers today as they outline these at an Abu Dhabi level in more detail. Before I hand over, I did mention last time in the last session that with regards to the much anticipated UK visit by the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, His Highness Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed, we were expecting in early September that there would be some quite significant announcements made. In short, there were the Partnership for the Future and the Sovereign Investment Partnership Agreements were both established. I don't have time to go into those into detail. They covered a lot of sectors, but essentially, these two major announcements are a testament to the strong, historic, but also forward-looking strategic relationship that our two nations share. If you want any more information on this, or indeed the working groups and activities of the Business Council, feel free to get in touch and request my details after this session. So I would now like to hand over to our moderator, Aida Salamanca. Aida is a member of our Creativity, Arts and Culture subgroup and also the Director of the British Council in the UAE. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul. Good afternoon for those in the UAE and good morning for those in the UK. So I'll be the chair and moderator for today's session. So Paul has explained the objectives of today's session, so I won't repeat that. I just want to focus a bit on a few housekeeping rules. So, and I ask members of the audience and speakers to keep your cameras off during the presentation unless you're speaking, and please keep your microphones on mute during the presentations. We will drop a link in the chat box, which is an evaluation format, which we would appreciate very much if you could complete at the end of the session. And in terms of the questions, during the second part, so probably around 1:30ish, 30 minutes from now, We will open up the space for questions. So if you have any questions as the presenters are speaking, please drop them on the chat box, and our colleagues will be going over those and trying to organize them in a way that we can have a live conversation at the end of the session. All right, I would like to then move on to our speakers now. And I'll be very happy to introduce them very quickly. So we'll be hearing from Mr. Suhail Darwish Al-Shibani, who is the Trade Licenses Officer of the Department of Economic Development in Abu Dhabi. Also from Mr. Salvatore Lavallo, Head of Foreign Direct Investment at the Abu Dhabi Investment Office. Then we'll hear from Mr. Mark Kutis, Chief Executive Officer of the Abu Dhabi Global Markets. And finally, from Mr. Mohamed Al-Binali, Senior Associate for Products and Business Development at Hub 71. So the four of them will hopefully give us a good picture of the opportunities and in Abu Dhabi for the creative sector. So without much ado, I'd like to hand over to Suhail Darwish Al-Shibani from the Department of Economic Development in Abu Dhabi. So I think you want to share your screen with us.
Sure.
Suhail, welcome.
You're welcome. Hi, Aida. This is Suhail Al-Shibani from Department of Economy and Development. Is everything clear right now?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So I'm going to represent our four main, five products, new products in Department of Economy and Development. We're having the freelancer license. It's now issued for all the citizens and whoever living in the UAE land to issue the trade license without any restriction or rules or regulations with the other companies that they are working. It will be with two legal forms. It will be like an establishment and an LLC solo company as well. And as well, we have now a new production or a new department under the Abu Dhabi Business Center. We call it Ma'ak. It's a concierge team that specialized to giving consulting on the legal forms and as well further activities, and also how to process to make and issue the new business license in Abu Dhabi from the beginning until the end, and even follow them up after we issue the license. The team is working 24/7 through our website. We have the chat box, we have the emails, and all the connection, central connection times in the website. I'm really happy now to announce that we have launched the Investor Compass as well. It's helping all the investors in Abu Dhabi to locate their business within Abu Dhabi area, in between Abu Dhabi, Al Ain, and Al Dhafra, to locate exactly what kind of business that they're gonna issue in Abu Dhabi with the region area. For an example, if you're gonna make a new, let's say for a contracting company in a certain area in Abu Dhabi, this compass will give you the exactly accurate businesses that's around you in the same area, and it's already collaborated with property finders and Abu Dhabi Investment Office and the statistic department as well. And as you know, I'm really happy to announce also for the foreign ownership. The Department of Economy and Development issued more than 3,000 activities are available for the foreign to own their own business license without any local agent or without any local partners as well. With the legal form, it's gonna be an LLC solo limited liability company. As we know, there is a lot of movement now from outside of UAE for the foreign investors. For that, we have issued in the last week, in the 20th of October in GITEX, the virtual license. It's allow all the foreigners from outside the UAE who they don't have the unified number or even come here to UAE to issue the UAE ID to issue their own trade license with only English language, using only their passport copies, and they can also open a bank account while they are outside the UAE. That's all the 5 products that we have right now as supports for the SMEs and for the new business in Abu Dhabi.
Thank you very much, Suhail. That was short and clear. Thank you very much. So we can move on now to Salvatore Lavallo from the head of foreign direct investment at the Abu Dhabi Investment Office.
Thank you so much thank you so much for having me, and I'm excited to be chatting with you, and always excited to be talking to new companies and about interesting sectors in the economy like the creative industries. So we like to start all of our presentations from the Abu Dhabi Investment Office with a quotation from our founding father, the late Sheikh Zayed. He said, "I dreamt of our land keeping pace with the growth of the modern world." And I think this is important because a lot of people always think that our only resource that we have is our oil resources. But really the main resource that I've always seen in the UAE is our dreams and our push for innovation. When we're looking at new aspects of the economy like the creative industries, this is something that, although new to the economy, is something that by being focused on innovation is something that we have been doing for the entire 50 years of our history. When we think about Abu Dhabi as a business environment, we look from the macro all the way to the micro and to the lifestyle of being in Abu Dhabi. So from the macro side, we are one of the largest economies in the world, top 30. Currently, Abu Dhabi specifically makes up 60% of the UAE's broader GDP. This number is growing. Interestingly, we are also 16th in terms of soft power, which kind of shows our outsized reputation and the influence that the UAE has on the broader Middle East and also on the world. When we then think more on like on the microeconomic view of doing business in Abu Dhabi, we are not only connected to the broader world. So Abu Dhabi is a great jumping off point. We are within a 3-hour flight of a third of the world, an 8-hour flight of 80% of the world. And that enables Abu Dhabi to really kind of be the door east or the door west. So we have a lot of companies that are coming into Abu Dhabi to be based here, but really affecting the broader Middle East, affecting South Asia, affecting East Africa, and really seeing how we can utilize the presence here to have a more global footprint. We have been the number one place for ease of doing business in the Middle East for many years now in a row. We are 12th globally. This number is always increasing. I like to say that what you might know about Abu Dhabi likely isn't wrong. It's just that it's old because things are changing so constantly. A big example of this that has changed recently is our new law allowing 100% foreign ownership across almost all economic activities and within all locations. A lot of people who have been looking to do business in Abu Dhabi in the past have thought that they were required to have a local partner, and now this has really changed. Of course, another microeconomic view that really supports companies and expanding here is 0% income tax, and in most cases 0% corporate tax as well. And finally, especially now in this kind of the times that we are looking at with the pandemic and looking at a post-pandemic world, the location of where people are working and the business that they are doing is often not as connected to the place where they are living. And so we then look at Abu Dhabi as a place for residents to call home and to love being. I've personally been in Abu Dhabi for about 10 years, and I really plan to stay for the rest of my life. When I look at that, of course, we have the statistics of it being the safest city in the world, many years running, the happiest city in the Middle East, but also it has been ranked as one of the best cities for expats. And I think when people come here and they see that, we're really attracting more people, especially through some of the freelance visas that our representative from DED was just talking about. When we talk about Abu Dhabi as an innovation center, it's really about enabling the entire ecosystem to work together. You see that today in the panel, just with the different speakers that are present from various aspects of the ecosystem. But really what's enabling support and enabling this innovation ecosystem is having all of these players present a one Abu Dhabi approach. So making sure that all of us are aligned on what is the strategy, what are the implementation mechanisms, what are any barriers, and how can we fix those? So we bring together the regulators, the funding partners, the landlords, the strategic arms, and we make sure that all of us are sitting at the same table, providing investors the full menu of options to grow and expand into Abu Dhabi. Within ICT more broadly is where we see at the Abu Dhabi Investment Office our like media focus. I will go in a little bit more detail in a second on the incentive programs that we have made in ICT and a couple case studies that we have done in the creative industries. But we really have seen ICT emerge as a strength of the economy of Abu Dhabi. This has really been because of a focus on knowledge economies, a focus on that innovation ecosystem. So a lot of the support that we do is for bringing tech companies here, again, making sure that they are not only affecting the Abu Dhabi market, but that they are creating globally exportable technologies and using Abu Dhabi as that base. So we've seen a lot of growth in this, a lot that has come from our fiber connectivity, that has come from our data networks, that has come from also a focus that we have on data centers. And this enables the broader ecosystem in terms of support for companies in the creative and cultural industries. So what is the Abu Dhabi Investment Office? The investment office was created just about 3 years ago to be the central government hub for attracting private sector investment into the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. Basically, we are the translating service or the liaison between the public sector and the private sector. So we demystify the public sector processes and we take the feedback from the private sector and inform that in terms of policy advocacy and strategy. The way that we do this is to promote Abu Dhabi as an investment destination. So always talking with investors, always participating in events like this so that people are aware of the Abu Dhabi of today. We also then attract companies through financial and non-financial incentives, which I'll go through in a little bit more in a second. And then we facilitate the innovation ecosystem by looking at ways that we can not only support individual companies, but ways that we can look to the future and create an ecosystem that enables companies to not only want to expand into Abu Dhabi, but for them to grow here and grow around the world. One of the key ways that we do this is through an investor concierge program that we have. This is really like a white glove end-to-end service that enables companies to really be helped along the journey in their expansion, to answer any of the questions that they might have in terms of opening in a new environment and really seeing that the government is there to support. So in terms of getting visas, in terms of getting your licenses, in terms of connecting with the right entities within your sector, in terms of working with the data, all of this can be done with our investor concierge team. The part of the investment office that I'm running is our FDI attraction program and the financial incentives that we provide to companies. So we are able to look at a company's project in Abu Dhabi and to provide cost cover on a pay and reclaim basis in high-skilled payroll, high-tech capex, and to be able to then look at what are the ways that we can catalyze that project in Abu Dhabi. So we are not taking equity, we're not taking IP ownership, we're not taking any commercial interest, we're not taking loan repayments. It's purely government support in order to make the projects happen in a bigger way, in a higher quality way, or in a faster way. So we look individually at each project at the cost that we think that we can cover. We do so on a quarterly basis, usually for 3 to 5 years. And then we're able to say that we can really catalyze the project by making the money that the investor will be putting into Abu Dhabi go further. We have done investment programs with about 3 dozen companies to date for about $500 million in the past 18 months or so. We're hoping to continue to look at different companies and hopefully increase that number. Within the ICT sector, there have been 8 companies that we have publicly announced. 2 of these are in the creative industries, which I'll go through in a second, but I think all the other ICT companies really enable one another, and it's about having like a broad ecosystem of different players that are able to provide support and insights to one another. So the 2 creative and cultural industry companies that we have supported publicly so far, the first is Anghami. It's the Middle East largest music streaming platform. They decided to do an entire headquarters shift, moving their entire headquarters from Lebanon into Abu Dhabi. They also then went public on NASDAQ recently from their Abu Dhabi headquarters. They've also are building an R&D center in Abu Dhabi. I think what's important when talking about these kinds of companies that when we're looking at creative industries, it's not just creatives that we're looking for. It's not just creators, but also the tech that enables creatives to be successful. Similarly, we have supported Starzplay, which is the Middle East's fastest growing video streaming service. We are supporting them in establishing their global headquarters in Abu Dhabi and to look at producing original content, but then also on building out technical teams, specifically on search engine platforms using artificial intelligence and data science. Both of these companies have been announced in the past year, and we're looking forward to a lot more success stories coming out of them, and also interested to speak with many more of you. So please do contact us, and we will make sure to get back to all of you and to see how we can support your expansion in Abu Dhabi. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Salvatore. Right on time. So now we can move on to global markets. I will hear from Mr. Mark Kutis, Chief Executive Officer of Global Markets. Oh, have we lost Mark? Okay, I think we lost Mark. So in the meantime, let's move on. And can we then hear from Mr. Mohamed Al-Binali, Senior Associate Products and Business Development from Hub 71? Mohamed?
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Aida. Thank you for having me on this panel. Just a quick brief on Hub 71. So Hub 71 was launched just over 2 years ago by the Abu Dhabi government to kind of create and nurture the tech ecosystem here. So we currently have around 100 plus startups in our community, and what we offer them is two parts. The first part is the incentive program, is where we subsidize the setup costs of these startups as they're reallocated to Abu Dhabi. So we cover the housing, office space, health insurance, and the license. And then once they're a part of the Hub 71 community, we run different programs to matchmake them with the key stakeholders of Abu Dhabi. And how we work is we work through 4 verticals. Our first vertical is the access to market. So we've partnered up with corporates, international companies, governments to ease up or speed up that access to market as the startups are in our community. The second vertical is we have access to capital. So we have around 19 VCs at Hub 71. They support the community as they fundraise and ease up that process as they need capital. And the third vertical, and it's I would say the biggest challenge we have in this region, is the access to talent. So what we did is we partnered up with different universities, tech hubs, recruitment platforms to ease up that process as these startups scale and look for the right tech talent. And then lastly, but not least, we also provide them with a business environment. We're based out of ADGM, which is the financial free zone that gives them the proper legal framework to grow out of Abu Dhabi. Essentially, we are a platform for partnerships. Our plan is to attract the right startups and the tech talent into Abu Dhabi and then support them to grow into the UAE ecosystem and beyond. We also work with regional neighbors. So these startups eventually, when they're ready to grow into the region's ecosystem, so we have partners in KSA and Egypt to tap into that market. And just to give you an example, we had a startup move just 2 years ago from the UK called Dharma, and they work with the content creators and corporates, kind of matchmake the content creators with corporates so they can have the proper work. So when they moved to Abu Dhabi, we managed to connect them to the UFC. They managed to get a contract with the UFC corporation to kind of work with the content creators to create a special travel package for the UFC companies. We've also managed to make it work with the Etihad and other corporate companies. And the idea is once they've come into the Abu Dhabi ecosystem, we're a platform to connect them to the right stakeholders for them to grow. And yeah, we're happy to get more startups from the UK. You can apply online. We onboard startups 4 times a year. I believe the next submission is in the next 2 weeks. So if anyone's ready to apply, please apply on our platform. We're sector agnostic. We focus on a tech platform. So even if they're in the creative sector, if there's a tech aspect to it, we're happy to support you. If they fit in the market, we're happy to support you in Abu Dhabi. And yeah, happy to take any questions and clarify on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have to say that we asked our panelists to be very concise so that we could allow more time for the Q&A. And I'm really glad to see that we are coming right on time. So thank you very much for that. I'm afraid that we lost Mr. Mark. Unfortunately, he had a last minute situation to deal with and he couldn't join us. So I'm going to ask now our panelists to help us with Q&As. So the first question that we have is addressed to, just give me 1 second. So what is the difference between establishing a company through the Department of Economic Development and the free zones in Abu Dhabi? Is that maybe a question for Suhail?
Yeah. So basically, for the free zones, any businesses establishing inside the free zone is keeping between the area of the free zone. It's not allowed it to be outside. So what we do for that, we have the dual license that allowed anyone have the free zone license in Abu Dhabi to issue the dual license and start their business outside the free zone area. So basically, the trade license from Department of Economic Development, it's a mainland license. It can be work and established as well in the land of Abu Dhabi as well, for all the region of Abu Dhabi.
Thank you very much, Suhail. Okay, I have another question. How does the virtual license work? Is it for individuals or companies?
It's for individuals and companies as well. It's been through our website link. We have created a new hub for the people that can access to the UAE pass system without using the unified number or the UAE ID. They can only use their passport details and put all the activities that they need. We have 13 different sectors of the activities. It will be on general, not specific activities. Let's say for services, it will be under contracting or maintenance or cleaning services. And trading, it will be general trading, etc.
Okay, so I think that answers partially, I think the next question I had, and is it how can you create this and company supply? So you're saying basically it's very simple. If it's individuals, they just use their passports.
Exactly.
Okay, good. And you mentioned some of the benefits of the virtual license. Is there anything else that you would like to address or highlight around this, the benefit of this model?
The benefit of the virtual license, they can open and manage their bank account using the virtual license. It's not like the other trade license that we have here. For example, if we issue the normal trade license here, the other entities such as the central banks or even Mohri or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they will ask for a specific location or specific information to create a bank account. In the virtual license, we don't need that. We don't need any approval from any other entities or any other challenges from other departments. So after he issued the virtual license, he have the option to issue the bank account. And now we are working with some of the banks to make it automatically. After we issue the virtual license, we automatically open a bank account.
Okay, great, thank you. Given that we have a smaller group, can I ask my colleagues in the panel to turn the cameras on? Would be interesting too. Yeah, thank you very much, Salvatore. Paul, you have your hand up.
Yes, I just wanted to add a comment on the back of that. I mean, one shouldn't underestimate the importance of being able to open a bank account easily, whether it's British companies going overseas or companies looking to the UK market. That can often be the most difficult hurdle. So that's a huge plus.
Yeah, thank you very much for highlighting that. Right, I have another question here, which is actually very interesting. Sorry, what makes the UAE lifestyle unique and appealing for international creatives and small and medium enterprises?
Maybe I can answer that since we're working with a lot of the investors. So I think that there is a few ways to look at this. The first is the lifestyle that's within the UAE. So 8 months of the year we have incredible weather. There's a lot of activity in terms of beach, mountains, desert. There's also people from more than 200 countries that are located here, so it's an incredibly international crowd. It's somewhat adventurous people to move across the world, and it's constantly changing, right? So it's The island that I'm sitting on at home wasn't here really 10 years ago when I moved here. The island where my office is also wasn't there 10 years ago. And so it's exciting to be a part of that change and kind of see that optimism, be a part of that growth. And also what's exciting from a business point of view as well is that we have an incredibly receptive government that listens to what the barriers are. And so not only do you get to see that change, but you really get to be a part of it and to dictate what that change is. The second thing is about how Abu Dhabi connects to the rest of the world. So because of its location really kind of at the center of everything, with quick flight access to 3 hours to India, 3 hours to East Africa, a couple hours to the rest of the Middle East, is only a few hours to Europe. It really allows for connectivity globally, and a lot of people like that, especially when you're in creative industries. You have clients all over the world. You're creating a global brand. To be in one of the most global nations really supports that. And then the third thing I would say is more on kind of like structural or regulatory side, which is zero income tax is obviously attractive to everybody, zero corporate tax, but then also the ease of doing business of setting that up. Being in the safest city in the world kind of creates an ease of mind for yourself and for your wallet. So great activities within the emirate, access to the wider world, and then kind of great trajectory of that lifestyle as well.
Thank you, Salvatore. I have a question for all of you, I think, from your different perspectives. Have you seen a trend in the specific subsectors in the creative and cultural enterprises that you see is growing in Abu Dhabi, which is one area that you think it's niche and it's interesting and appealing for our UK creatives? Is there a particular area that you think it's growing, that you have identified from your experience as one that looks like, the next big opportunity in Abu Dhabi?
We've seen a lot of people doing like Arabic language content. So as people have, as the region is growing, we have a very young population. We also have a very digitally capable population. And so there has been an incredible amount of growth in terms of Arabic language content coming out of the Middle East. Also, some of the traditional places where this content has been coming from, like Egypt and the Levant, are producing less, and the Gulf area is producing more. And that kind of coincides with the good business environment here. And so the companies that we have been approached by are tech-enabled companies that are looking to produce content for the younger generation in the broader Middle East.
Yeah, I'd also like to add to Salvador's points. Abu Dhabi is as well really, investing heavy on media, gaming, and entertainment rights. We have 2454 launching their new creative hub, which is really supporting the sector. And us at Hub 71, we're nurturing or working with these really early stage startups to eventually feed into that ecosystem. So yeah, we've had, as Salvatore mentioned, we have a lot of content creators, working with different types of service-based, language-based. So yeah, it's growing, and when we have these economic hubs that are popping up, that will hopefully push and enable these startups to really flourish and grow in Abu Dhabi.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Paul?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that. So the Business Council itself, our education working group, has more recently established, as I mentioned earlier, the creative sub-working group. And of course, in that working group, we have both British and UAE companies alongside government representatives working together. And they've identified that possible areas of interest for the Business Council will be, for example, film, theatre, music design, museum, heritage, those kind of things. So, I mean, there's a lot on the table that the two countries can work together on.
Thank you very much. Now, we have talked about companies, and we seem to refer to potential investors. So we're looking at not necessarily small organizations, but if I am an individual, a creative, interested in setting up in the UAE, can I reach out to Abu Dhabi Investment Office for support? What kind of support will I receive as a single, creative and not necessarily a company?
So at the investment office, we are focused only on companies. So we would probably refer you to look at the freelance visas that are offered by DD, as well as like with the connections at 2454. And I think that's where the kind of like the help would come from.
All right, thank you. Now, Paul, you still have your hand up. Is that a new hand or is that a legacy hand?
That is an old legacy hand. I apologize.
Okay. Are there any useful online resources for UK creatives willing to engage with counterparts in the UAE? We talked about partnerships. Is there anything online that they can go to and start looking for, counterparts? Maybe you mentioned some of those partnerships and how you tend to, you support those initiatives. Is there anything online or?
We have our website, and the ADIO is providing all the information about the freelancing and the foreignship as well. I'm going to share it here in the chat box if you allow me.
Thank you. Yes, please. All right. Okay, I have another question here. Are there incubators and accelerators that UK creatives can work with in the UAE?
Yes, I'll jump into this. So there's multiple different types of accelerators in the UAE that you can benefit from depending on the background. So for us as Hub 71, if it has any kind of tech platform behind it, we're happy to support that kind of startups. And what we do is we bring them into Abu Dhabi. There's more of a kind of business development relationship, really connect them to the really key stakeholders, support them in that aspect. And then eventually help them grow into the wider Abu Dhabi ecosystem. 2454 as well, which is the kind of media entertainment free zone. They have different programs. I really advise to check out their website and see what you can benefit, especially that they're opening up their new campus soon.
Thank you. All right. Here's an interesting question. Are there any specific services available in Abu Dhabi for UK companies looking to do business in the wider GCC, for instance, in Saudi, using the Emirates as a hub?
So one thing that we always say is that a company growing in Abu Dhabi needs to instantly be global. So we're not trying to pretend that we're this the huge economy and that a company can only be focused here. So all of the companies that we have been looking to support are looking more broadly at the Middle East, at the GCC, at Africa, at South Asia, etc. So all of the incentives that we provide at the Abu Dhabi Investment Office are for costs that are incurred in Abu Dhabi, but whether the business is like the customers or the consumers are in Abu Dhabi or not, that's not the focus.
Thank you so much.
I'd like to add to that point as well. From a startup's perspective, as Hub 71, we also agree, startups have, we convince startups to move to Abu Dhabi, and then obviously we support them to grow out of Abu Dhabi and calling Abu Dhabi as their hub. So what we've done is we've built these cross-border programs with regional neighbors, and so they have that access when they're ready to grow. So we're working on it. We have, partners with KSA and Egypt and so on. So yeah, we'll support these startups to come in and then eventually go out.
Thank you. And that leads into a question that we had received separately, especially from the small creative organizations, companies, is, are we looking, we talk about working in Abu Dhabi, are we looking at a domestic market, or is your recommendation really to go into international markets? Salvatore, you just addressed that. So your recommendation would be really focus on, yes, the UAE market, but definitely use Abu Dhabi as a platform for international markets.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking to support companies that are incurring costs and making investment into the Emirates. So we can cover payroll that's incurred in Abu Dhabi. We can cover capex that's spent here, and then where the business is actually performing its business, that's up to the strategic direction of the company.
Right, thank you. One of the areas that we have seen growing, and it's of particular interest to the UK, is the area of design and architecture. So if you could give 3 top tips to a British designer or architect looking to tap into opportunities, what would they be? And let's say, for example, as an example, Yas or Sariyat Island, visitor attractions, museums, heritage, what would be your tips and advice?
Sure, I can go into this. I mean, Abu Dhabi is growing. These islands are new, so they're more of an open canvas for these creative people to really think outside the box. You know, these entities are really, the project that we're coming up, especially in architecture and Abu Dhabi, are really unique, like the Louvre and the Guggenheim that's coming up. So I really think that you should, you know, map out who the stakeholders we want to reach out to in Abu Dhabi, who are the people that you should be reaching out to and learning from, and eventually proposing these kind of new ideas to Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi is a new place, it's a progressive mindset, so we listen and we like to kind of learn from others. So I really advise is to come in, you know, reach out to the right people and really bump ideas with the right stakeholders in Abu Dhabi.
Thank you. Any other comments? Right. Here's another question regarding partnerships. So once again, what's the best way to, for UK creatives and SMEs to create business partnerships in Abu Dhabi? So is there a proposed route? What's the easiest way of setting up those partnerships?
I think the best thing is to just be on the ground and to come and to meet people. There are a lot of different ecosystem building events, networking events. So, you know, nothing really beats being physically there. As Mohammed was saying, reaching out to others and kind of making those connections, because we are such a kind of like transient place and there are so many people there. It's the population is really open to those kind of like new connections. So it's always good to be here and then meet people and see the best way to go forward.
So we can confirm to our audience that Abu Dhabi is now almost 100% open to face-to-face events. It's not, the restrictions from COVID are gone. There are still some minimum requirements regarding vaccination and PCR testing, but we have live events happening now. So are there any particular trade shows that, for the creative sector that you would recommend to UK creatives? In Abu Dhabi in particular?
Yeah, I believe that the Ministry of Culture and Youth is having a in November a creative industries conference. So I'm sure we can get the information to all the everyone that's interested in that.
Right. Okay. We will ask Her Excellency Ms. Salma Al-Darmaki to join us before we wrap up, so that she can give us a bit of a background on the information from the Ministry of Culture. But thank you, Salvatore, for that. Quick question here: Is it mandatory to have a physical space for medium businesses in Abu Dhabi?
Yeah. So there's the 2454 free zone. Is meant for media businesses. They're opening a new campus as well in Yas Island, so they would also be great to touch base with on this.
Okay, good. We had a lot of questions actually. They're all great questions, and considering that we're looking at obviously organizations which are thinking about considering the idea of coming to Abu Dhabi to run the business, start setting up and creating their business here. Your answers have been absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for your patience. I think it's time to wrap up. Before that, I would like to invite Her Excellency Salma Al-Darmaki to give us a bit of a wrapping statement around, in terms of what the Ministry of Culture is thinking around the creative sector, and any other remarks, Salma, that you believe would be helpful for our audience?
Thank you very much, Aida. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to say that the UAE considers the creative economy an important sector and has really taken a lot of steps to nurture the sector and will continue to do so in the foreseeable future, because we've noticed that the creative sector contributes greatly to our economies. Our meeting today is one of our major initiatives to create partnerships in the cultural and creative industries sector. We noticed the wonderful questions that our colleagues and panelists discussed, and we appreciate the contributions that we've heard today. From the Ministry of Culture perspective, we have a cultural and creative industries sector. I have other colleagues who are responsible for it, but what I can say briefly is that the UAE is willing to launch a cultural and creative industry strategy. It's a long-term strategy to make sure that there are targeted efforts to support the sector moving forward. Moreover, we've heard of different Emirates such as Dubai and Abu Dhabi also launching their own creative strategies and various creative initiatives. We also have creative zones and areas or districts and clusters. I think everyone knows D3 Design District in Dubai, which is a major design hub. And we're so proud to see it grow and nurture the design sector in the UAE. We have more initiatives that we will present to you in the coming months. So please do stay tuned, and we will try as much as possible to clarify the processes, because we really do want to see UK creatives and UK companies set up in the UAE and also work with the UAE. This is a brief overview of what we do, what we will continue doing, and what we hope to engage with you in. And most importantly, as Salvatore mentioned, we have the World Conference for Creative Economy, which is a partnership between the UAE and Indonesia. It will start next month, not next month, in December 2021. It will be an expo. So we hope you all can join us. We will try as much as possible to send you the link. Everyone who registered to today's session will get a link to the conference. And we have an Instagram account now for the World Creative Economy Conference. So following that will also allow you to stay in touch with the happenings and the updates related to that conference. Thank you very much, Aida.
Thank you, Your Excellency. So without much ado, I think it's time to wrap up. Thank you all very much for participating today. Thank you to our panelists for your time and for your very interesting and insightful answers to the questions from the public. We are recording this session so that we can create a small library of the series that we will be running. The next webinar will be focused on on Dubai. So with that, we will have 3 of these videos in the series, and we hope to continue over the coming months offering this information that will allow our UK creatives as SMEs to understand better the opportunities, the scope of the opportunities, and we'll provide them with the support they need to come and set up and continue growing the exchange and collaboration between the 2 countries. Last but not least, I just want to ask my colleague Laura Boss to make herself visible. Laura is the person who leads the creative sector in the Department for International Trade and is the direct contact for British organizations for any questions that you might have regarding the opportunities in the UAE. Laura, any final remarks that you want to make or any information you want to offer to our audience?
Thank you so much, Aida, for leading this excellent webinar. Thank you to all the speakers for your time today. My name is Laura Bols, and I lead on the creative industries for DIT, the UK Department for International Trade in the UAE. And the support that we offer here at the British Embassy in the UAE means that we can assist creative small and medium enterprises with market intelligence, introductions, and research while they look to enter the UAE. So please do reach out to me. after this webinar. You can email me at laura.boss@fcdo.gov.uk, and I'm happy to take any further queries forward. We would also really appreciate it if anyone in the audience can provide feedback on this session so we can use your thoughts to further improve future webinars in this series. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Laura. So thank you all for joining us today. I wish you all a very happy rest of the day, and hope to see you in our next webinar. Thank you. Bye.